Lions sneak past the Vikings in a barn burner, 31-29. Jared Goff, sneaky MVP. You said it on the call. Now it's my take. Solves Brian Flores' defense. Here's Dan Campbell.
To say that I'm proud of you would be the massive understatement. That's the way to come in here. Everything we talked about from the time we got to halftime to the way we had to finish it out, man. My God, man, you guys didn't bat an eye. I love this freaking team. I love the coaches. I love the players. I love everything about it, man. We are so freaking hardened. Even when doesn't go the way we want it to, man, you find a way.
Meanwhile, my coach was said the team's soft. Fire turning me into a Lions fan. Look at Jared Goff, Greg. Last 3 games, passer rating is 153.1. It's the best by any quarterback in 3-game stretch since the merger, capitalized M. So, Greg, this is your squad. Do the Lions prove they're the best team in the NFC?
Yeah. They're definitely the best team in the NFC. They just beat the Vikings.
NFL?
And US Bank.
Not just NFC.
Handedly. Obviously, they kind of let the Vikings get back in it. But there's nothing that this team can't do. And you've lost your best player, essentially, in Aiden Hutchinson on the defense side of the ball, where they were just vastly improving. And now you have other opportunities for guys to step up. And they did that. You saw a couple big plays from Justin Jefferson, but for the most part, this defense did their part. Offensively, what can this team not do? They run the ball very well, and you know that they're going to run the ball. And then they're one of the best teams, if not the best team, on play-action pass. And Jared Goff and his numbers, I know we look at them, and we kind of say, oh, yeah, but is he really throwing? He's throwing the ball downfield. Yeah. These aren't dink and dunk. Pressure. Like, most of his passes are off play action. So anytime you go play action, you're trying to find second and third layer throws, and he's making them with tremendous accuracy, as his numbers suggest. There's nothing that this team hasn't been able to do thus far this season.
Drew yesterday shredded the Vikings blitz that you and I both thought that the Vikings blitz was going to give him trouble because it's giving everyone trouble.
And it did early in that game.
Yeah, but then after that,
he figured it out, and it was over.
Go ahead, bro.
Look, I love Dan Campbell. I give you nothing but credit for what he's done in Detroit, but some of his decisions might come.
I knew you were going to hate the fake punt.
4th and 7 from what?
Options.
The 30? What were they on their own?
Their own 32, and they ran a speed option fake punt.
I like
the moment.
Why?
The moment they ran it, I was like, Brew might like this. But then the moment it failed, I was like, he definitely won't like
No,
this.
I don't like that from your own 34. Early in the, I just don't.
But that's what he does.
Didn't it come back to, you don't have to do it all the time. I mean, there's nuance in the game. Just because I go for it sometimes on 4th down, I have to go every time? No. I mean, that's what you're saying. Last year, it came back to bite them in some games late in the season and in the playoffs.
It won games for them, too. So we can look at it both ways.
I'm just saying that was a little too risky for my blood. Look, they got the best resume. I'll give you that. But the best team in the NFC is the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers, 5-2, beat Houston up yesterday. I know it was a close game, a last-second field goal. But they held C.J. Stroud to like
83 yards or something.
Yeah, worst game of his career. They're leading the league in takeaways with 17. They're balanced just like Detroit is. They're like top 5 in rush offense. Obviously, Jordan Love is playing well. He leads the league in interceptions with Mahomes, but also leads the league in touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't like it.
In only 5 games. He's played 5 games. He got 15 touchdowns. And I think the best, and they played Minnesota. In Jordan's first game back from injury, they're down 28-0.
Yeah.
Why were they down?
He was rusty. He was coming off a freaking MCL. And once he gets his sea legs under him, they outscored him 29-3.
And they won?
So they lost, but they outscored 29-3. Green Bay, baby.
You give him a second-half win over the Vikings?
I'm just spouting facts. Green Bay, watch. Okay. Greg knows.
All right. That was a very short little Lions segment. God forbid we talk about Lions more than just a few minutes. Okay. So listen. I think this idea that we have to just keep putting it into the NFC is absurd. The Lions proved that they are one of, if not the best team in the NFL. I love how having the Chiefs beat the 49ers, who are all banged up and are nowhere near as good as they were last year, elevates them to the undeniable best team in the NFL. but the Lions beating the undefeated Vikings somehow does not really elevate them to that. I mean, like, that's just absurd. I also like how people still try to keep acting like the NFC is this weak conference when, like, clearly, like, they got some beasts. Just the NFC North is just absolute beasts. I understand what Bruce's saying. I've already talked about it, about the fake punt and all of that. I understand it has helped them. It has hurt them. It is. It's an interesting thing. It will definitely make everyone uncomfortable going into the playoffs, right? If the Lions are punting on their own 40 and it's the Super Bowl, like the team that you're playing, no matter who it is, the Bills, the Chiefs, whatever, they're gonna be on their guard. So that alone, just makes everyone uncomfortable in a good way. And it also makes the Lions more comfortable in those situations as well. So you can paint it positive or negative, really depending on the moment. But what I just loved about this game more than anything, and what I saw from the Lions more than anything, is just showing how gritty and tough they can play in such a close battle game. Because we've seen them run away and run up the score on teams. We've seen them play ugly and win close games. Like the Rams was an ugly game. It was an ugly game versus the Buccaneers, which they lost. Against the Cardinals, I didn't think that was this great, big, pretty win personally, which I had talked about at the time. And so what I really wanted to see, because again, obviously beating the Cowboys, that was exciting, but watching them beat, obviously, a great Vikings team, come out with the win, 31-29, the margin of error is so small. As I went through in my previous video, like, the Lions just needed to be 5% better. And that's what they were, right? Goff was 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 140 rating on 22 of 25, 88% completion percentage. Darnold was 260, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The Lions rushed for 144. The Vikings rushed for 139, right? Total yards, 391 for the Lions versus 383 for the Vikings. First downs, 19 for the Lions, 16 for the Vikings. It's those little things that end up making you win, right? Like, and when you can continue to do those little things and contain composure when things aren't working well, right? When they are down by 10 on the road against an undefeated team, the Vikings, who have been obviously great, right? The fans are going nuts. Everyone's already like, oh my God, 6-0, let's go, right? And the Lions are, it would be natural for you to be like, oh man, this is not like the Cowboys, right? This isn't the Cowboys. And the fact that they still were so ferocious, so intense, like you could see Dan Campbell in when he was in the locker room and being all fired up. You can see that's the spirit, that's the soul that the Lions play with, right? That's how they attack these games. But then they have the hyper intelligence of, say, Ben Johnson to be able to now also put it into practice. And that's what I keep saying about this team. They're both brawn and brains. They're both intellectual and intense. That's what makes them arguably the most dangerous team. If you want to make the argument that they're not the best team, let's say you want to say that the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, yada, yada, yada. That's fine. Even if you're a Lions fan, you probably can't be too angry about that, considering who the Chiefs are and what they've been able to achieve over, obviously, the last however many years. But I don't think it could be argued that the Lions are not the most dangerous team because of what they can do to you. I mean, they just have everything. Everything. I mean, it's just what they can do is they can knock you out. They can throw you to the moon. They can make you feel small. They can death by 1,000 paper cuts. I mean, they could just do it a million different ways. And it's just, that's what makes them so dangerous. And their punch is just insane. Right? They'll either Floyd Mayweather you or Mike Tyson you. I mean, it's just so many different ways. And that's what makes them so ruthless. And I really would love to see them make a couple moves at the trade deadline to get even better, especially defensively, right? Go out and get Max Crosby, go out and get, juice up that pass rush, and there's the whispers that Aiden can come back in time for the Super Bowl, which I definitely think is a possibility considering what he's probably doing to heal his bone. The bone heals faster and gets a lot more stable than, say, a ligament or a tendon. So that matters tremendously. So there is the real possibility that he can come back. But you don't know. You really don't. You don't want to bank on it. But this is the year for the Lions to take it all. I mean, there's no better chance. No better chance than this year right now. Don't worry about next year or the year after. It doesn't matter. You're talking about this year. You look and see. Because if you think, hey, we're going to face the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you look and see what the Chiefs are doing, and you're like, I'm not afraid of that. That offense? What Patrick Mahomes is doing? No. And yeah, that defense is really good. But we got Goff. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown. We got Montgomery. We got Gibbs. We got that O-line. We got Ben Johnson dialing up plays. We're well prepared. The Chiefs are beating up on teams that are not prepared. They don't got weapons. We got the weapons. Let's go. So juice up that defense. Make Patrick Mahomes even more uncomfortable than he already has been. You win that Super Bowl. But the margin of error is small. It's small. You just eke out a win against the Vikings. And we can say, oh, well, they let them back in the game. That's football. It took a last-minute field goal to win this game. That's football. Try anything you can do to stretch out that margin of error. Because you saw that margin of error bite you last season against the 49ers. So, yeah. I mean, this was... I also said this in the previous video. I mean, this was a Super Bowl game for me. I'm watching this and I'm like, this is the Super Bowl. Obviously, I know they're the same division, same conference, but this is a Super Bowl, man. This was just two great teams going back and forth, well coached, well prepared. And it was just awesome. And the Lions prove to minimize this and just say NFC. I think that's absurd. Just stop it. Stop it. NFL in the league. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think the Lions proved that they're the best team in the NFC, the NFL, wherever? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.